Stories locally. The state has now purchased a 3-year supply of abortion pills in anticipation of a court ruling by a federal judge in Texas.
The ruling would affect sales and the manufacture of mifepristone countrywide. Governor Inslee spent more than $1.2 million to buy 30,000 pills for women seeking a medically induced abortion in the state. The University of Washington bought an additional 10,000.
Washington State will not allow a judge in Texas to deny the right of Washington women to this safe drug.
And Attorney General Bob Ferguson is suing to expand access to mifepristone.
Anti-abortion activists will not be satisfied with that decision. They will stop at nothing until they have removed every last vestige of reproductive freedom.
The pills will be distributed to clinics focused on reproductive health. Matt Markovich, Cairo News Radio.
I'm so sick and tired of men having to be the ones that talk the most about women's health. Ursula, I would love to hear from you on this. I mean, you look all across social media and everybody talking about it, and all these men and this and that always got something to say about women's health.
Well,
your thoughts, my friend?
So I will start by saying I actually am in support of this preemptive move by the state. This drug has been used safely for more than 20 years. If you're wondering, well, what does this Texas judge or ruling have to do with anything? Well, if the judge rules in the way that is expected, basically it would make it impossible for doctors and pharmacists to get access to this particular drug. The lawsuit that has been filed argues that the FDA made a mistake in approving the drugs mifepristone and misoprostol. Am I saying it right?
I think it's misoprostol.
Misoprostol, yeah. And overstepped its authority in doing so. Just to give you a couple of thoughts, Walgreens has already announced that it's not going to sell mifepristone in 20 different states that have already warned of legal consequences if it does. So you talk about the lack of, it's already becoming that much more difficult. In the state of Washington, nearly 60% of abortions in this state are medication abortions, and there are about 800 of them every month. Now, I've already shared my personal feelings. I am pro-choice, and I have also said I'm also glad I've never had to make such a difficult choice. Sure. But I want to talk about a story that Chef has shared.
I'm literally shaking right now because of how upset I am with this potential judge's decision. So this lawsuit was filed by the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine. It's an anti-abortion organization. It is not a medical organization, and there is nothing about banning a drug that's been FDA approved for 20 years that's medically informed. If this drug is banned nationwide, it will be banned for purely religious reasons, not medical ones. Now, if mifepristone is banned, I'm proud Washington is going to make this available for women here who need it. And here's why. About 3.5 years ago, my wife was pregnant with what would have been our second child. We were over the moon excited. I think I came in and told you guys about a day or two after we got the positive pregnancy test. When we went in for the 20-week ultrasound, we found there was no fetal heartbeat. And it was probably one of the most devastating moments of our marriage. And I can still barely talk about it. At the time, we were given options on how to deal with a non-viable pregnancy. And one of those options was this so-called abortion drug. That's the option that we went with, based on the advice of our doctor. And I don't want to go into what a miscarriage involves, because it is horrific and it is horrifically painful, regardless of what option that your doctor chooses for you and you decide on. Why should your religion dictate what care I receive or my family receives? There are a lot of drugs on the market that can be lethal or be misused. Opioid medication, for example. We have an out-of-control opioid abuse and overdose problem in this country. Over 200 people die a day from opioids. But imagine if your loved one breaks their femur, or they're getting a C-section, or they're getting palliative care, and some religious organization decides to sue and say that, you know what, opioids go against our religion because they kill people. No one in this country should receive it, even your grandfather who's dying of cancer. What about lethal injection drugs? Pavilon is used to cause muscle paralysis and respiratory arrest during lethal injection. It's also used to assist in anesthesia in intubating patients, if you need to be trached, and as a muscle relaxant during surgery. Potassium chloride is one that's in the cocktail. It's used to stop hearts in an execution. It's also simply a potassium supplement. Midazolam is used for sedation in lethal injections. It's also the most commonly used sedative in dental surgery. Those drugs are used to execute prisoners in 28 of the 29 states that allow the death penalty. Exactly 0 of them have made any effort to ban any of those drugs that are used to cause death in humans. Get your religion out of my doctor's office. I'm fuming.
Wow. So